Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. My name is Yolanda Stewart. This is Adult Learner Speaks. We have a very special guest this evening. I'm so excited. Tarajee Saleem-Little. I'm sorry, is joining us tonight, and she is here to tell her story. Let's see. You always tell us to go to college, but you did not finish. I'm going to say that one more time. You always tell us to go to college, but you didn't finish. That is something that one of her children said to her. And I'm going to let her tell the story because I didn't even have the privilege of hearing that. So I'm just so excited that she's here with us. And I'm so excited that you have joined. Please tell your friends if you know someone, especially an adult who is thinking about going to college, or maybe who've been to college before and afraid to take that step to go back. To share and have them tune in. Call them up and tell them to listen, because I just believe that they will be encouraged on this evening. And so at some point, we want you guys to ask questions and share comments and just join in the conversation. So without further ado, I am going to bring in Tarajee right now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? I'm Tarajee Saleem-Little, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm so happy to be here. So happy. Yolanda, thank you so much for everything and being who you are. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes. I called Tarajee and I asked her would she be willing to join me in the conversation on Adult Learner Speaks, and there was no hesitation. She just said yes, and I'm so grateful for that. So before we start, do you have your water?
Yes, I have my water. I do. I have my bottled water. I do.
That is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine, because we might need it. We're gonna have a conversation.
Yes.
So tell us before we go into who said, your daughter, your son, which child said you always tell us to go to college but you didn't finish? Which child said that?
That was my daughter, Tiara. I've always been an active parent. I'm a mother of 6 children, and I'm always telling them to go to school, do right, helping with them with their homework. And one day she was doing her homework and she said, "Ma, you always talking about going to college, but you never went." And some parents would have taken that to be disrespectful, but it had me to thinking, what do I need to do to change that? So I decided to go back to college.
That is so awesome. So tell us what college you go to and what are you studying right now?
Right now I'm at DeVry University. I'm studying business administration with a concentration in criminal justice.
Okay, so and how long ago did you start?
I started at this school in January. However, 20 years ago, I was at the College in New Rochelle. So I have older children and I have younger children. So 20 years ago, I attended college and then, got married, had a couple of more children and life, right? So now I'm back in school, and this time I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep pressing forward.
Okay, so what do you want to do with your degree?
I have about 20 years working in the social service field, working with the shelter system, men, women, children, mentally ill, chemically addicted. And I was recently turned down for a promotion because I didn't have my degree. I had the experience and certifications, right? So now, after getting my degree, I want to be a director of my own shelter, a not-for-profit organization.
Nice. That's big aspirations, but I know you can do it.
Thank
You're
you.
From Brooklyn, and so we don't give up. Right. It's something about these Brooklyn people. We get that dream in us, and we go forward. We don't let nobody tell us no.
Right.
So that is so awesome. So take us back, because you said something. You mentioned that 20 years ago you started school, And that is so many people's story, right? They start school, and was that right out of high school?
That was
When was
right.
that?
That was I would say when my second child was born. I was about 21 years old. At that time I had about two children so far. And where I'm from, education is very, very important. But I got pregnant, got married, had another child, and I wanted to go back to school. And at that time I was at the college in New Rochelle, and I really wanted to finish, but like I said, life, childcare. At that time, I was going through a real, with all due respect, a horrible divorce. So it led me with two little babies, and I had to work and push my education to the side. So at that point, I had to work more full time, and it seemed like school. It seemed like I would just never get there, But I knew at some point that I would. But I knew my priority was to be a mother. And that was the priority, was to be a mom to my children, which has always been. But I had to work. I was a single mother, and I had to do what I had to do. So, yeah.
Oh, how long did you attend school at that time?
Maybe 2 years. It wasn't long. It wasn't long because having to juggle two children that were 18 months apart, going to work. Um, and I also had to go into a shelter. I had lost my apartment after my divorce, so it was a lot. But I,
Went through
made it
you
through.
went through some stuff. You went through some
Yes,
stuff. Were
ma'am.
you Now, when you started back school this time around, were you able to transfer some credits in from the past into your new program?
Well, surprisingly, DeVry really, really did their thing, and they were able to transfer 38 credits from the College of
Awesome.
Rochelle to DeVry, and also because I had been working in the shelter system and accumulated certifications like CPR, overdose training. There were so many trainings that I had attended, for so many years that I didn't know that this experience and these certifications could go towards credits. And that's exactly what happened. So it ended up working out.
That is, explain a little bit about that process. I'm so happy you mentioned that because this is about our fifth interview, I believe. And it seems like every time I sit down with someone, they share something that I think is, so useful and that maybe the viewers who are listening could definitely benefit from. So you talked about work experience. So that is awesome when you can take that work experience that you have and turn that experience into credits. One, it shortens your time, but it also shows how the college that you're at appreciates your work experience. You have 20 plus years of experience, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So tell us how did that work? That process.
Well, for me, it ended up working out because I was able to use my experience towards my education. So a lot of the young people in my class, some of them are fresh out of high school or just in their 20s, maybe 30s or whatever. But when you have the experience, it makes it a lot easier, especially if you're going to school for what you want to have a career in, if that makes sense. So because I have overdose training, because I have CPR training, because I have a mandated reporter training in the field that I'm in with the criminal justice system, it makes a whole lot easier. So for working adults, that experience, hold on to it because it will make your classes a lot easier. I know for me, except math. Don't quote me, except math. Right. But
Math is a struggle for a lot of people, believe me.
listen, but my papers, it's easier for me to write because at work I had to do reports. I was a supervisor of 25 people. So that experience really helped me become a better college student. Right. So yeah. Yes,
That's
ma'am.
that practical experience. That is awesome. So, and I bet you have a lot to share in the classroom.
Yes,
A
I
lot
do.
of, yeah, that is good. And so, and I know, so for someone who's listening, did you share your resume with your college? Did you share the actual certificates? How did you prove your work experience to your college? And I know every college is different, but how did a little bit about that process?
Well, I have been assigned a student advisor, which was good. in the beginning of my enrollment. So I was able to tell her all of my experience and everything. And she did ask for my resume, and I emailed it to her, and she thought it was quite, impressive. And she was really able to help me decide on the major, because I hadn't been in school in so long. I really didn't know what I was going to do. All I knew was that I wanted to get a degree. But what she did was she matched my experience, and she wanted to include it in my education, because she asked me, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? So she was able to include that work experience and find a career. And the good thing about where I go to school is they do a lot of career services. They help you find jobs. They do resumes. They do a lot of things in terms of adults too, helping adults that haven't been to school in a long time. Because not for nothing, I felt kind of out of place. I have one of my classmates, she's 19, so I felt a little, but now I feel more comfortable, in the classroom.
That's awesome. That's natural, and I hear that from a lot of adult students. Now, so are you in class like in person, or do you do remote, online? What format?
I'm online. I'm taking 2 classes right now. I'm taking algebra and critical thinking. Um, and a lot of things that we do, like the exams and everything, are online. I know there's something that you have to post, like discussions, two or 3 times a week. But for me, it really works good, because as the children are remote learning, right? I'm remote learning. So I went to Walmart, and they have their desk and their corners, and I have mine. And now Tiara says, Mommy, you're going to school. I said, I'm right here with you. She got her desk, and I got mine, and she helps me. I had the algebra, and she helped me. So you see.
Wow, that is awesome. Now, how old is Tiara?
Tiara's 13 now. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So she has to be very proud of her mommy.
Yes, she is. She's just like, I was in class at 9:30, and she's like, Mom, don't you think it's time for bed? And I'm like, no, I'm still. And she goes, Mommy, you really? I said, and you're going to be right there at my graduation. So she's really like tickled about this whole thing about her 47-year-old mommy in school.
Nice. And what about the rest of your kids? Like, are they all like excited and like, wow, mommy's in school? Like, what do they think about it?
They're really like, Mom is really doing this. Even my older ones, one of my sons, he's in college, and he's like, Mom, you're really making this happen. I said, you know what? I've dedicated my life to my children, and I will continue to do so. But it's very important for parents, when you tell your children to get an education, it's very important to do so for yourself, for you, to do something for you, but to also, not for nothing, be a role model to your children. That's very important. I know for me it is. Yeah.
So beautiful. So tell us at any point, when you decided to go back to school, did you feel like, I don't know if I can do this?
Yes. I remember about the 3rd week in school, both of the professors were asking for a lot. But I remembered what my student advisor told me, that I could always reach out to her. Sometimes you can't always reach out to the professor, but you can reach out to the student advisor. And I did. And what I didn't know, she's a former graduate of DeVry. So she was able to give me tools that I needed to really help me and just help me breathe through this process. And I was able to get through my first semester at DeVry. I'm now on my 2nd semester there. So I'm so grateful.
That is so awesome. And you mentioned another good nugget that I think our viewers should listen to, especially if you are thinking about going to school, if you're in school and you don't take advantage of, like other like peers, like other students and tutoring and just other supports. It's so important to do that, because it can make a difference in your grade or even in just how you feel, your motivation. So myself as a student, I felt like I was, struggling a little bit on one week, and I reached out to my professor, and it's not always easy to do, but it made such a big difference when I met with him. He answered the questions I had, and that next week I approach it a lot better. So thanks for that. That is awesome. So tell us, when you have like those challenges. Well, what's been the biggest challenge? I'll say. What's been the biggest challenge?
For me, the biggest challenge has been the time management piece of it. Because right now, I'm not working at this time due to the pandemic. But just the children getting up, making sure that they're situated, and making sure everything is in place. But then also, I'm noticing to create a quiet space for me. I don't believe it's not that I can't get the work done, but it's about creating a good workspace. I mean, I'm a mother of six, right? So that's what I'm trying to do now is really create that workspace, quiet time where I can get it done and get it done in a timely fashion. And I feel I'm doing much better with that. That's where I'm at right now.
So it sounds like you've created a system that works for you.
Yes.
Do you find yourself working more, doing schoolwork in the morning time, in the evening? Are you up in the wee hours in the morning? Like what is? Tell us a little bit about your system. Like
I believe
like eat
sometimes
them out.
in the morning.
How do you cook? How do you get dinner in and things like that?
Well, in the morning, I try, like, once I get the kids settled with their remote learning, after I cook their breakfast, I might be able to do some reading. But I'm noticing in terms of classwork, hardcore classwork and papers, I'm able to do that at night after 10. Like Tiara, I think it was 9:30, Tiara saw me. That's the time. So I've tried to create a schedule. Like the kids, they're remote from 9 to 2. By 2:30, I'm starting to cook dinner, clean up. And I've also assigned chores too. Hello, because what's happening is that you get so overwhelmed, you're cooking and you're cleaning, you're like, oh God, I gotta, and my thing is everybody has to have a job. Because I had a conversation with my children before I started school. I said, let me tell you something. I'm going back to school and I need everybody's help, just like everybody needs my help. Now I need you guys' help. So everybody, it had to be all hands on deck. That's how I was able to do it. But to answer your question, at night really works for me when everybody's asleep or they're in their rooms.
Nice. All right. So you talked about your children being your motivation, one of your biggest motivations. Do you have anyone who's mentored you down the years that that has anything to do with maybe you being in school right now? Or
Um, like my children been my motivation. I would say my pastor, she's my mentor. She's also she's working on her PhD as well. And she's always pushed education with the children. She's actually helped. I'm so happy that I'm going. So she's really been my supporter. I've also had people that, you know, tell me different. Um, and it's shocking because I've always been everybody's number one cheerleader, right? But sometimes to hear people say, "Oh, well, you're too old," and it's just too late. You know,
really?
yeah, and it hurts sometimes. But that makes me even more determined. Shocking. Never thought I would hear that, but I did.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So but I bet maybe somebody else is listening. They've heard that too. So,
Yeah.
what do you say when someone say that to you? What do you say?
I mean, of course, it's shocking because it's not like someone that you don't know. I mean, these are people that you're with in everyday life, close family, close friends. And what I said to the person is, what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. And this is my time and this is my season of what I want to do because I know I've, put everything on the back burner for everybody else. So, and in life, and it was good. Although I was hurt, it was good that person, not for nothing, presented that to me because it made me more determined
I
that
was about to ask you that.
no, there's no expiration on education. There's no
Right.
expiration date. You
Right. That's
know?
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. So let's see. We have some comments from our audience. Any questions, guys? Those of you that are tuned in with us. Taraji, can you see it? Taraji, do you see the
Well,
comment?
I can't see it. Let me see. Hold on one second. Oh, I
Let's
see
see.
them now. Okay. Let's go. Let's should I go? Okay, I'm
I
gonna
can't believe
go.
people would say that to you.
Yes,
You're too old. Yeah, you know what? I can't believe it either.
yes,
I but yeah, people
yes.
they have their own opinions about things, but us adult learners are doing our thing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are.
I mean, I know so many stories of people who they start school later in years and they go beyond their dreams, right? They get that dream job and they're fine with where they are. And the next thing you know, they get more opportunities,
Right.
and they started school in their 30s and 40s and 50s. It's never, ever, ever too late. So I'm so happy that you brought that up. Any
Thank you.
questions, anyone? I see a lot of comments.
Yes. Let's see.
So, what do you say to someone who's thinking about going to school but just can't seem to make that move? How would you encourage them?
There's no time like the present. There's no time like the present. And when you're ready to do it, just do it. Even if you, because at first I wasn't going to take two classes. I was just going to take one one at a time. And my advice and my suggestion is that do what works for you. Even if it's one class, two class, if it's something that you really want to do, make it happen. And Yolanda, of course, she's a wonderful and phenomenal woman that you could always talk to as well. But I just say, do your research, find out what you want to do, figure it out, not figure it out like that, but decide on what you want to do. Um, what I did was I picked like 10 schools and I just did like, pros and cons and things like that. And once I made the decision of where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, I began to speak to the student advisory department and ask a whole lot of questions. If it doesn't sound right, then move on to something else. But I think that this is, for me, it's a good time, but you have to choose what works for you, you know.
Yeah, we see, yes, embrace your time. You're inspiring me to do better. That's awesome.
Thank
These are
you so much,
comments that
everybody.
you are
Thank you.
definitely an example to so many. These
Amen.
are
Thank,
comments that, yeah, that's that, and I agree. You truly are.
thank
So
you.
what? So let's see. What? Tell us a little bit more about. Let's go back to childhood with with school.
Right.
How did you do well in school? Were you like really into like getting really good grades? Like, just tell us about what school was like for you growing up.
So I went to school in Bedford Stuyvesant. And one of the things in that community was that it was always education, education. And there was a principle that always said onward or upward to academic excellence, right? So back then it was this village, right? So even if it was the crossing guard or it was the math teacher and English teacher, there was always someone that made sure that you were doing what you were supposed to do. My mother is a teacher. And I remember my mother taking me to school with her, right? Sitting in the classroom. So I understood at an early age that education was very important. I remember when I was 7 years old, I watched my mother, walk across that stage in Brooklyn Academy of Music and obtain this paper. And I said, in my head, I said, wow, that's really big. Even at 7 years old, I knew that education was important. So going to school, I was always outspoken. I was always known, popular, and things like that. Math, I always struggled with. I can't lie. But I liked school. I liked being around my friends, and I liked doing my work. And even with my friends, we all worked together collectively. So school has always been um, something big, something huge. It was a must. It was like brushing your teeth in the morning. It was like school, like, listen, we went to school in snowstorms. You hear what I'm saying to you? Like, we went to school every day. Okay, so education, education was the thing. It was the thing to do. You had to go to school. What do you mean you're not going to school? You had to go to school. That's how that went. Yes,
And
ma'am.
so, I'm assuming that's why you said to your kids a lot to go to school.
That's right.
Like what's been your plan, or what was your thoughts behind telling your kids to go to school? Like, at what point do you tell them? I mean, did you tell them, or have you? When did you tell
Well, I always share with them when I was growing up, you went to school and your parents went to work. You know, and in my household, you couldn't sit down or you wasn't, no, this is just what it this is just how it was. You how it was back then. And this is what I wanted for my children. You have to go to school. That's just how that went. I had to go to work, you had to go to school, and I expected nothing else. And what happened was I started going into PTAs and volunteering for the school, and in that I was able to network. And even at work, although I wasn't in school at the time, I would see my colleagues going to school. So going to school in my circle was very important, even when I wasn't in and I was doing trainings and certification. It always would come back full circle to me. You know, that education is and was and will forever be. Because one thing I found out is that knowledge is something nobody can take from you, right? They took my job and everything else. Well, one thing they will never be able to take is the education, right? So
Right, absolutely. Now, did you go to 324 too?
I sure did.
Do you remember Mrs. Harvey?
My girl, what?
You remember her favorite line?
What was her favorite line? I know Mr. Cummings was onward and upward to academic excellence. What was Miss Harvey's thing? I forgot, but she
Was
was
it not knowledge is power?
right. Sure enough.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
That's right. That's right.
So
So
as soon as you started talking about that, it made me think about that. Knowledge is power.
mhm,
And then I think she also used to say peace and love.
it's all
Remember
it
that
is.
peace
That's
and love?
all it is. That's what she was saying. Yes.
Something about those teachers and counselors in school. They cared
Yeah.
about us,
Yes,
didn't
did.
they? They
Yes,
really did.
yes.
They really did.
Mhm.
So there's some questions from the audience, and I want to make sure I read them to you. So let's see. So I'm going back a little bit because I don't want to miss anything. Let's see. What if someone is considering school and need help to apply to college? What do they do if they need help with applying to college?
Well,
You
I'm sorry. Sorry. They should contact the school's admissions office, and also their student advisor and also the financial aid department. But the first thing they want to do is contact the admissions office. Yes.
guys, bear with me. I am trying to get to your questions. I don't want to miss any of them.
Yolanda, if I may, can I just thank everybody that I know?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Mommy and my sister Kalila, Maisha, Carol, all of my cheerleaders. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for the encouragement, and everybody that I'm just meeting. I'm just so happy to meet you and be a part now. Thanks to my dear friend Yolanda. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I could read. It says I can read some of these comments. It says faxes. They're saying thank you. There's people saying you're welcome. Glad to be tuned in. That's from Myasia. I hope I'm not butchering your name, Myasia. Tania's like yes, and Miss Carol Moore is like amen. Education was the thing to do, like brushing your teeth. And you got to do that twice a day, sometimes in the middle of the day. So we get that. Let's see. Science is not my best subject, but not giving up. That's right. You just go get some tutoring, get some help. Don't give up.
That's right.
And math, I swear, is a foreign language. And yes, so now you talked about math being a challenge. So what do you do? How do you get through math?
Talk to my children, talk to Tiara, talk to, listen, I need help with this. And Tiara was just like, Mine, yeah, I do. Come sit next to me and help me. And they have really been helpful. I've contacted my student advisor as well, but the way we did math, Yolanda, and I'm sure the people that are on here is not the same as how they do math today. So I'm gonna get through this class. I am, but I want to learn this new math that's out, today.
You that yeah, the math is foreign, like a foreign language.
Right,
to me
right,
too.
right.
To me too. I'm about to do some stats. So there's some numbers in there. So I got
Wow.
my
Okay.
fingers crossed. I'm like, okay, Lord, help me. I'm gonna be
Yes.
praying. Some praying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Any more questions, viewers? I did tutoring in college. Yes, absolutely. That is so important to access tutoring. It is very important to do it. And the thing
Yeah.
is, I don't know if students realize it, but you are paying for it.
Right.
There's fees that you're paying for, and those fees include tutoring services. So that is so very important. What other services have you accessed, Tarajee, since you've been at school? Any type of support
Um,
service?
they have the tutoring as well. They also have the career hire. They have an internship, and it doesn't have to be close to graduation. It can be like maybe once, twice a week. They also have a peer community, which I think is so awesome. So there are people at DeVry that come from all walks of life, California, Africa. So I'm able to connect with older adults, younger adults, and people just from all across that are able to give advice and to help. So I thought that was really, really nice to have somewhere where I can be comfortable being an adult learner as well. And we learn on each other. We also have this thing called homework huddles. So I'm getting ready to be in a homework huddle next week for math. So I'm excited because I'm going to have new friends in for math. So they
That
can,
is awesome.
yes,
So it sounds like you take advantages of the supports that are available to you.
yes.
So tell our viewers what that's been doing for you, taking advantage of those supports.
It really has helped a lot. When I first started school, I'm like, well, I'm gonna, do this, and this, and that. But what I realized is that I'm not alone in this process. And it was important for me to utilize all of the services and all of the resources that are in place. So, as a suggestion, if you're in school, your school should, with all due respect, have these services and ask questions. I just found out that my school has a program called Aspire where they help with childcare, legal issues, landlord. I mean, listen, and these are things that, with all due respect, that we're going through with this global pandemic, right? So I was really happy to know about that. So, but the thing was, had I not reached out, right? Or check my email. That's another thing I'm learning. Check your emails, your school emails. But I've learned I've learned that I'm not in this by myself, and to utilize the resources that are there. Yeah.
Who made up a good point about checking your emails and looking into what's available to you, because it sounds like the school that you attend offers a lot. There's a lot of support services, but like you said, if you're not checking your email, how would you know about those things? How would you know that they exist? So that is very important to check your emails and inquire. Find out, what programs and services and supports that your school offer, and take advantage of those things, because it really does make a difference in your educational journey. And it sounds like you agree with me on that.
Yes.
Tarajee. Nice. So let's see. Any more comments? Well, there's a lot of comments. There's amazing, and
Thank
it sounds
you.
like you are a big encourager of so many. And I'm
Yes.
so happy that your guests tuned in this evening. This is awesome, and I hope that someone is. Well, a lot of you are being encouraged, but I also hope that you share this video with someone, especially someone who's on the edge and not sure about going to school, or maybe they've heard that they are too old to go to school. And everybody should know that nobody's ever too old to go to school. Nobody's ever too old to go after their dreams. I myself, I'm 40. Boy, once we get in our 40s, we forget our age. But we went to school the same year. So I'm 46 as well. I'll be 47 this year. And I just started school. I just started school again after 18 years old. And I mean 18 years. And it's not easy. Would you say that it's easy? Is it easy?
It's not easy at all.
It's not easy.
But it's worth it. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of dedication. And I think, not for nothing, now that I'm looking back through the years, this is the appointed time. Because now that I think about it, I tell you, when they were 18 months, one was going this way and one was going the other. So it was really difficult to maintain. It was really, really hard. But now that I feel that I'm at a good place, and not just because of my age, but let me just say, everything happens for a reason. So I hope someone can catch that everything happens for a reason. And there is a time and there's a season. I'm not here to preach to anybody, but there's clearly a time and there is a season for everything. And to me, I feel like this is it. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah.
Very nice. So you talked about this a little bit before, but it looks like one of the viewers is asking, what is your goal professionally?
My goal professionally now is to become a director of my own resource center, family shelter. A lot of times in the community where I live and where the community that I've lived at, a lot of services people always have to go out to. Parenting skills. If they're homeless, they have to go here, there, counseling. I want to create a space where it's resources for the family. Because in my community, not all, please, no one get offended, but in my community, there's a lot of single parents, dysfunction, and my goal is to bring the families back together. What is it that I can do to bring the resources to bring the family back collectively? So that's my career goal, to be a director. That's what I want to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And like I said earlier, you're going to do it. What do you think, viewers? She's going to do it, isn't she?
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear about it. Myasia says, say it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That's my girl. Thank you so much. I tell you, her and I, we go back, but she's another phenomenal woman, another educator. Not to put you on blast, but she is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Awesome. So, okay. So let's talk about just being a woman. Being a woman in this time, like you said, she's an educator. Like, do you have some women friends, some girlfriends that encourage you?
I do. I do.
It leads you on, and
yeah, I do. I have my mom and my sister, and I do have people from my church and close family that have encouraged me through this process, and it means a lot. And it's like now I'm encouraging mothers, right? Mothers, especially my age, and even younger women, if they can, to return back, because the reality is, right, you can work, right? And we've all worked in the communities, outside of the communities. But the thing is that if you don't have an education to back it up, it's like, look at me. I was working in the field for over 20 years. And I was turned down for a position that they knew I was ready for. But because I didn't have the degree, and this person, I can't say any names, walked in, got the degree without the experience. So at that point, I'm saying to myself, why am I running around like I'm crazy? I'm sitting here running around, working, at the show to double shift 16 hours. And I had to take a step back and reevaluate my whole life and bring it back to what I was taught in the community that I went to. was education. So again, everything has its timing. Everything has its has its timing and its season. But I realized without an education, it's especially the way the world is going right now. You have to
So
do it.
now when that opportunity comes, you'll be able to walk right up to it, right? And that door opens, you'll be able to walk right through it.
Right.
And that's awesome. You won't have no doors closing
Right.
on you because you
Right.
don't have education.
Right.
And I've heard that story where, like you said, you have all the years of experience, and then someone maybe fresh out of college,
Mhm.
that job requires a degree. They may not have as many years of experience, but they have a degree and they're able to get the job. And you just watch. There's nothing you can do because that job requires a degree. So now you'll be ready. You'll be ready
Yes.
next time. So that's
Mhm.
awesome.
Thank you.
That's it's not awesome when it's happening, but
Right.
it's awesome that you're doing something about it, right?
Right.
Because you could just say, you know what, forget it. And maybe somebody's listening right now that's it happened to you, and you probably said, forget it. Well, I'm not going to go to school, but you can, you can,
Yes.
and and just take that first step. Take that first step. And I know there's some fears around taking that first step, but just get rid of the fears and turn that fear into faith and do it. And so you shared your bio with me
Yes.
and you mentioned a little bit about faith. You want to share a little bit about faith?
Faith. My faith has really gotten me where I am today. Because of my faith and what I've been through, I'm now an assistant pastor of a church. And I say that to say that, wow, in life, right, we all go through things, but to it's all to the glory of God. That everything that we go through is what it is. And my faith is what has gotten me here. With everything that I've been through, I count it all joy. So now I'm able not just to just minister to people, but also walk in the role that I'm supposed to be walking in. Right? So if that makes sense, my faith is why I'm here. That's why. That's why.
Faith helped you to get to where you are today.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
All right. Are there any more questions, viewers? And I feel the degree does matter. The experience is also important, but the education propels you to the next level. That's a good point. Great point. Another door closed, but you are opening another one. Great point. Great point. Yes, that's strong and steady faith.
Yes.
The interview is even better than Oprah. Well,
That's my
all
name.
right.
That's my mother.
Well,
That's
all right.
on there.
We'll take that. Why don't we take that, sister?
Yes, yes. She's
We'll
been an
take
educator.
that.
Mommy's been an educator for 30 years. She's now teaching teachers on how to be teachers. So this is where
Wow.
I get it from. She taught
Wow.
right in the same area that we went to school in. And I watched her. I've watched her teach and educate. And that's all I know. That's all I really know is education. Yep.
So, is there anything that you wanted to share that you maybe haven't shared this evening? Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I would just like to share that, just elaborate on what we were talking about a little while ago, is consider putting yourself first. Okay? Think about it because life moves so fast. I was in my teenage years, 20s, 30s, and now I'm 47, which is good stuff. But putting yourself first is very, very important. So if it's education, a job, put yourself first. Try to make time for you. That's what I want to say. Is try to put time in for you. And this is your time. This is your season. If you feel that way, don't let anybody get in your way. Nobody at all.
right. Well, I want to say thank you to your mommy for
Yes,
being an educator and for inspiring and encouraging you, who has inspired obviously so many people, including your children, and your children in turn inspiring you. So yeah, thank you to all of you. And I also want to say happy birthday to you. You
oh,
had a
thank
birthday
you.
last week,
Yes,
and so we can
yes,
continue celebrating.
thank
So
you.
happy birthday.
Thank you
You
so
said you had
much.
some beautiful pictures.
Thank
Just you look
you.
like you had a great
I
time.
did. I
That
did.
is that is so awesome. That's
Thank
you
you.
don't look any bit your age.
You
Um,
either.
Whatever that means. We 46 and 47, going on 47, and I'll take 17.
Listen, I'll take it. I'll take
I'll take
16.
17. I'll take 16. At any rate,
Yes.
we are adult learners doing our thing. And so I'm just, I'm beyond proud of you. And again, I really appreciate you, saying yes to this evening. And I know that you have encouraged some folks today. So again, to our viewers, please share. And if you know somebody that's been on the edge and not sure about going to school and furthering their education, have them listen. And because sometimes it just takes to hear somebody else doing it, and then and you get that push that you need. And so if we can
Mhm.
give somebody that push, we definitely want to be able to do that. So, any final words? I think you did, but before we before
Yes.
we say goodbye,
Yes. Yolanda,
want to
thank you
say
so
goodbye.
much. Thank you so much, Yolanda. You have really set the platform and broken barriers. I'm telling you. And I just pray, I don't know who was ever a believer, but I pray God grant you your heart desire. And I know this is just, it's big. And I'm so happy and I'm so proud of the woman that you are. I really thank God for you. And I thank God for you giving me this opportunity. Thank God. I mean, thank you to everyone, all of the comments, my mother, my sister, Miss Carol, Maisha, all of the adult learners from near and far. Thank you so much. And thank you, Yolanda, for allowing me to be a part of the adult learners. I'm excited. I'm excited. Thank you so much again.
So you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Again, I appreciate you. And for those of you who don't know, Adult Learner Speaks is this is our fifth interview, and so we stream live through Facebook as well as YouTube. And we have a different speaker coming on every month sharing their story. If you are an adult student or thinking about becoming an adult student, please join our Adult Learner Facebook group, because in addition to hearing these wonderful interviews, we network, we share our accolades. Some of our adults recently released books and just doing great things in addition to going to school. So it's really a place where you can be inspired and network with other adults who are in school or thinking about being in school. We also have some college professionals that are a part of the group. And so we have some vice presidents and directors of different colleges. And so if you just have questions about colleges, you can post and ask questions, and someone would answer your question. And I myself am also an educator and currently work in enrollment at a college. And so I definitely love to share and support. And so we definitely, we want you to connect. So again, thank you to all of our viewers. We appreciate you. Share, share, share. And we are going to wrap it up and say goodnight. So until next time, we'll see you again. Everybody be safe. Bye now.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Yolanda.
Ew.